We are live, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good evening. The meeting of the City Council will please come to order. Before we stand, I've asked Alexander and Andrew from Newark's Troop 186 if they would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you gentlemen come forward, please? Please stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, gentlemen. For those participating via Zoom, when we get to the item that you want to speak on, please use the raise your hand feature and the city clerk will turn on your microphone to speak at the appropriate time. Let the record show that all members of the City Council are present this evening. Item number 1 is proclamations, and I would ask that Assistant Maintenance Superintendent Hornbeck join me for the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is proclamation number 1896, Arbor Day. Whereas the first Arbor Day was celebrated in 1872 to promote the reforestation of the plains of Nebraska. And by the year 1920, more than 45 states and territories observed Arbor Day. And whereas Arbor Day will be observed in the city of Newark on June 8th, 2023, whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, enhance the environment by providing habitat for animals, purify the air, and beautify our community. And whereas Arbor Day promotes tree appreciation and conservation, tree planting and tree care, whereas the City Council has recognized the value of the thousands of specimen trees within the city limits and has consistently supported the planting and maintenance of approximately 13,000 trees on public property. Now, therefore, I, Michael Hannon, Mayor of the City of Newark, do hereby proclaim June 8, 2023 as Arbor Day in Newark and urge all residents to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands and to support our city's urban forestry program. And I want to present this to Mr. Neil Hornbeck. Sir?
Thank you. Sure.
Great.
We're here today to commemorate the Arbor Day celebration, and we planted a tree out in the park out there. But we're also here to celebrate 36 years as Tree City, as being recognized as a Tree City USA. Tree City USA is a program that's sponsored by the Arbor Day Foundation, the foundation that he spoke of. And so, about 36 years ago, somebody who was really smart in this city decided to start being recognized as Tree City USA. So we're very proud of our trees and our urban forest, and thank you to you and the council for all the support you give us.
Excellent. Thank
Yep.
you. And again, a big thanks to the city's maintenance crew and folks that maintain our parks and our trees. We're a beautiful city because of their efforts day in and day out. So thank you to all those men and women that contribute to making the city of Newark a great place to live, work, and play. This is our opportunity for public comment on any item not listed on the agenda. So if you want to speak to any item that's not on the agenda, this would be the opportunity to do that. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to an item that's not on the agenda or an issue? City Clerk, is there anybody online that would like to speak?
We have no hands raised, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next item on our consent is our consent calendar. The consent calendar consists of the following items, D1 through D6. Are there any items that staff would like pulled from the consent calendar?
Not this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you. Are there any items that the public would like pulled from the consent calendar? Are there any items that the council would like pulled from the consent calendar?
Not this evening.
Ms. Harrington, is there anyone on Zoom that would like an item pulled?
No, sir.
Great. The consent calendar consists of the following items. Number one, the approval of audited demands. Two, the approval of the May 25, 2023 minutes. Three, waive full reading, conduct second reading by title only, and adopt an ordinance establishing a planned development overlay district at 38288 through 38594 Cedar Boulevard. Four, adopt a resolution approving amendments number one to the contractual service agreement with Pacpoor Consulting Group for the engineering project management services related to the Central Avenue Overpass, project number 1014, and approving an amendment to the biennial budget. Five, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contractual services agreement in a form approved by the city attorney with Interactive Resources Incorporated, the KPA Group, and Verde Design for on-call architectural services. Six, adopt the resolution approving amendment number two to the contractual services agreement with Fair and Piers for additional traffic engineering and transportation planning services, an amendment of the 2022-2024 biennial budget and capital improvement plan. Would someone like to move the items to be approved as recommended by staff, with any items approved by resolution or ordinance being numbered consecutively, and that the reading of the title suffice for purposes of introduction or adoption of the ordinance?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Bucci,
Second.
by Vice Mayor Collazo. Please vote. And that passes unanimously. Thank you.
Ordinance of the City Council establishing a planned development overlay district at 38288-38594 Cedar Boulevard.
Public hearings. The first item under public hearings is a motion to continue the public hearing to consider approval of DR 2021 through 006, a resolution approving design review investing tentative map for an 8-unit for sale condominium residential development comprised of 4 2-unit dwellings located at 36952 Mulberry Street, APNs 92-2921 and 92-2922 to June 22nd, 23. This item is a public hearing for residential development on Mulberry Street. Staff report, Ms. Havorka?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This matter is not ready for council consideration this evening, so staff is recommending that City Council open the hearing, accept any public comment that may be had tonight, and then continue the hearing until June 22nd, 2023 at 7 p.m.
Great. I'll open the public hearing on this item. Is there anyone in the public, in the audience that would like to speak to this item? Ms. Harrington, anybody online that would like to speak to this item?
No, Your Honor.
Great. I'll close the public hearing. We're going to go ahead and continue this item, council. Do you have any questions in the interim that we can? Okay, so we'll go ahead and continue this item as mentioned by the Assistant City Manager until June 22nd, 2023. Do I need a motion to continue this item?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great.
So moved the item.
By Councilmember Freitas,
Second.
by Vice Mayor Collazo. Please vote. That was close. And that passes unanimously. F1, adopt a resolution approving amendment number 1 to the contractual services agreement with West Coast Arborists Incorporated for additional tree maintenance services and amendment to the 2022-2024 biennial budget and capital improvement plan. Vice Mayor Collazo will need to recuse herself from this item.
Exactly. Under the Political Reform Act, I have a potential economic conflict of interest in item F1. I have an interest in real property, my residence, where I have a pending request with the city for removal of a city tree. I will recuse myself from consideration of this item, and I will leave the room. I will return following discussion of this item. Now, I have a question. I have to recuse myself from the second F2. Can I recuse myself now, or do I have to come back and recuse
You'll
again?
have to come back, Vice Mayor.
Okay. Be back.
As mentioned, this is a contractual services agreement with West Coast Arborists for additional tree maintenance services and a budget amendment. Staff report, Ms. Favorka?
Thank you, Your Honor. This item would typically be placed on the consent calendar. As you said, it's a contract amendment. However, in order to allow for Vice Mayor Collazo's recusal, we've placed it on other business. So I'm certainly happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great. Any questions from my colleagues, clarification, comments? Anybody in the audience like to speak to this item? Ms. Harrington, anybody online that would like to speak to this item?
No, sir.
Great. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
By Councilmember Bucci,
Seconded.
by Councilmember Jorgens. Please vote. And that passes 4 ayes, and Ms. Collazo, Vice Mayor, present but recusing herself.
Resolution of the City Council of the City of Newark approving amendment number 1 to the contractual services agreement with West Coast Arborists, Inc., and approving an amendment to the 2022-24 biennial budget and capital improvement plan.
I probably could have read this while you were over at the door. The next item, folks, is introduction of an ordinance adding Chapter 8.44, Sustainable Foodware, Sustainable Foodware Ordinance to the Newark Municipal Code to regulate the use of disposable foodware to improve the health and safety of the Newark community and environment. The item is exempt from CEQA per CEQA guidelines sections 15061B3 and 15308. Vice Mayor Susie Collazo will need to recuse herself from this item.
Under the Political Reform Act, I have an economic conflict of interest in item F2. I have an interest in this item related to a business and source of income that impacts my personal finances. I am the owner of a Mexico tortilla factory that would be impacted by proposed sustainable foodware ordinance. I will recuse myself from consideration of this item. I will leave the room once again. I will return following discussion of this item. I'll be back.
Staff report, Ms. Favorka?
Thank you, Your Honor. This ordinance is being introduced for its environmental benefits as well as to comply with state law and to assist the city in meeting its requirements under the stormwater permit. Tonight's staff presentation will be provided by Environmental Services Manager Jim Scanlon. Mr. Scanlon, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council. This item is to consider adding a sustainable foodware ordinance to the Newark Municipal Code. So I will review the purpose of the ordinance, the benefits, a summary of the provisions, the outreach plan, and the schedule. The purpose of this ordinance is to reduce the discharge of plastics to local creeks and the bay and improve the beauty of Newark.
Switch to the
So first we'll go over the benefits of the ordinance. So there are many benefits to the ordinance. First, it will help reduce litter in the community. Much of the litter we see on our streets is single-use plastic foodware and foodware accessories. This ordinance will also reduce pollution to local creeks in the bay, as much of the litter on our streets gets into our storm drains and from there flows to the bay. Adopting this ordinance will help the city meet its stormwater discharge permit requirements. The Municipal Regional Stormwater Permit is issued by the San Francisco Bay Regional Water Quality Control Board. The permit requires the city to reduce the discharge through its storm drain system, the discharge of trash through its storm drain system by 90% from 2009 levels by June 30, 2023, and by 100% by June 30, 2025. Adopting this ordinance will help the city meet these targets. Adopting the ordinance will also reduce waste to landfill. Most single-use plastic foodware is not recyclable, so it ends up going to landfill. It also often contaminates our recycling and organics waste streams. So a summary of the provisions. This ordinance prohibits food facilities from providing foodware accessories to customers unless they are requested, and accessories cannot be bundled. These requirements are from Assembly Bill 1276, which was signed by the governor in 2021. The ordinance also prohibits the use of polystyrene foodware. Polystyrene is a problematic plastic as it tends to break down into small particles that are not trapped by trash capture devices and can be consumed by marine organisms. The County of Alameda and all the cities in the county except Newark and Piedmont, as well as many municipalities throughout the state and the nation, have banned polystyrene foodware. The ordinance applies to food facilities with some exemptions for the AB 1276 food accessory provision. So the definition of food facilities and foodware are: food facilities are any permanent or temporary operation that prepares, serves, provides, or vends food to the public for human consumption. Exceptions for the AB 1276 foodware accessories provision include drive-thrus, school cafeterias, and healthcare facilities. Foodware accessories include utensils, straws, napkins, and condiments. As I mentioned, the ordinance aligns with Assembly Bill 1276. AB 1276 requires the city to authorize an enforcement agency. The ordinance defines the Environmental Services Division as the enforcement agency. The implementation will involve an extensive outreach effort. Staff will post information to the city's website, send outreach material to all food facilities, coordinate outreach with the Economic Development Department, and conduct site visits. The schedule is to develop and implement outreach from July through December 2023. Enforcement would not begin until 2024. The ordinance adoption. Staff recommends that City Council waive the full reading and by title only introduce an ordinance adding Chapter 8.44, Sustainable Foodware, to the Newark Municipal Code. Thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Scanlon, for your presentation. Is there anyone in the, first of all, council colleagues, any clarifying comments or questions? Clarifying comments, questions?
Yes, I got.
Yes, Councilmember Bucci.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Your presentation mentioned the foodware accessory exemption and how some of that was in the, for drive-throughs, and it had a short list, but does that include or not include the poly containers?
Does not include.
Okay, so there is no exemption on
Right.
that. Okay,
Exactly.
perfect. And then, I guess just a clarifying question or a quick question for staff. Mr. Stanley had mentioned the goal for the discharge permit being 100% by 2025. And I know that we have a catch basin project that's been going on through town, and we've been doing them. I'm just kind of curious how's that going? If we have a number of catch basins left to complete that project, or
Yeah, we're working on those now. Actually, this month, there's quite a few going in. We have a contract with Swims to install those and to clean our catch basins. So we'll have most all those in by the end of June, and then a few more in the start of next fiscal year as well.
okay,
And that'll get us most of the way there. It doesn't get us all the way there. We're also doing some inspections of commercial properties to make sure there's not litter on private property, because they don't get caught by this storm drains in the street. And then this will help us get us, I think, those extra couple of percentage points to get us to 100% by 2025.
perfect. That's great. Last question. I've seen a number of other agencies start to put out kind of trash capture devices in their storm systems.
Right.
Doing
Okay.
weir walls and things. Is that
Yeah.
something that we're looking,
Well-
or do our storm drains kind of fall on the flood district, or do we have any place where we should be
Well,
looking at that?
Most of the big channels are flood control district channels. We looked at opportunities to put the bigger devices in, and there weren't really any good opportunities, just the way our system is set up and what drains where. So that's why we went with the storm drain, the trash capture devices in the inlets.
Okay.
So we're essentially covering all trash capture devices in anywhere that's not residential, where there is very little trash. Most of our major thoroughfares and a lot of our residential areas or commercial areas will have trash capture devices in the storm drain inlet in the public right of way. So we have about 700 in at this point.
Okay, perfect. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Stanley.
Okay, thanks.
Any other clarifying questions? Is there anybody in the audience that wants to speak to this item? Questions, comments? Ms. Harrington, anybody online that would like to speak to this item?
No, Your Honor.
I'm really pleased to see this come before the council. You know, the city of Newark, Alameda County, the state of California have been focused on environmental impacts for many, many years. This is just another opportunity to address an issue that has significant environmental impact to not only animals, but the fish and other live beings in the area. So I'm really pleased to see this. We're complying with AB 1276. It puts us closer in compliance with our stormwater requirements. So congratulations and job well done.
Thank you.
I need a motion and a second to approve this
So moved.
by Councilmember Bucci.
Second.
Councilmember Jorgen seconds. Please vote. And that passes 4 ayes with Councilmember Susie Collazo present, but having to recuse herself.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newark adding Chapter 8.44 Sustainable Foodware to the Newark Municipal Code to regulate the use of or to improve the health and safety of the Newark community environment.
Thank you.
Just waiting on Piedmont.
Back.
Thank you. I don't think I have to recuse myself again tonight.
I won't allow it. The next item and last item is our city council matters, and I'll look to my colleagues for any city council matters. I'll start with my Councilmember Jorgens.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to draw our community's attention to, on our city's website, we have a couple surveys. One for our broadband master plan, our citywide facilities master plan, our public arts master plan, and the Instant Transit Realigned survey. Some of those, the community input process is coming to an end within the next couple of weeks. So I would really encourage our community to go on Newark's website and fill out those surveys. These master plans really only work if we get really solid community feedback. So I would encourage the community to go and do those surveys.
Councilmember Freitas.
Nothing on tonight, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Bucci.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple things real quick. You know, when Mr. Hornbeck mentioned that somebody smart 36 years ago got us signed up for the Tree City USA program, I couldn't help but think it was probably Al Nagy. I wanted to give a shout out to our scouts here tonight coming in for their civic engagement badge. It's nice to see you fellas. It's always good to see our scouts in here being involved in the community and doing their part. So thank you for coming tonight. And then lastly, I just want to congratulate all of our 2023 Newark Memorial Cougar graduates. I was able to stop out for the graduation ceremony on Friday. It was great. A lot of the kids out there, you know, had a big part of their high school experience kind of sidetracked by the whole pandemic, but they seem to have really recovered. And I heard that this was one of the largest classes of kids that were all going on to college that we've ever had. So that's really exciting stuff. Yeah, so congratulations to them. And then, you know, also a nod to the 8th graders who graduated the junior high the day before, and they're moving on to high school as well. So I hope to see them out there graduating in 4 years, and just congratulations to all our Cougars.
Mm-hmm. Vice Mayor Collazo.
Well, first of all, I want to thank my colleagues for passing F2. the foodware that's not gonna be polluting our oceans. Today is National Ocean Day, June 8th. So it's a perfect day to pass such an ordinance. And 2 weeks ago, I mentioned Bear Bites. And if you haven't gone to visit them, please go visit them. They're delicious. They're delicious. I tried them. I'm going to be back. I had the beef hamburger, the chips with the pink sea salt, and an apple turnover. It was delicious. So it's going to be one of my favorite new places to visit here in Newark. Then I want everybody to get ready for Sunday, July 16th, for the Mariachi Festival. So this is something that I started with the city a few years ago, and I've been enjoying it. It brings out a wonderful crowd of people, and I'm not even sure what year it is. We missed 1 year with the COVID. But get your blankets or your patio chairs ready to come out and enjoy that day. I'll be up on stage, and I'm looking forward to it. And before I let you all go, shop Newark. If you're gonna shop, shop Newark. Thank you.
It's always such a pleasure to see the variety of cultural events we have throughout our city, and certainly the Mariachi Festival and the Vice Mayor's advocacy for more cultural events is really what spearheaded that effort. And not only get out there, but get out there early, because that grove gets packed. And so if you want a good seat, you better be there early. So in addition to that, get ready to groove and move, because Groovin' at the Grove is making a summer comeback. Can't believe I just said that. We're thrilled to invite you for a sensational season of summer concerts at the Grove, but wait, there's more excitement this year. We're doubling the fun with not one, but 2 amazing band performances each night. The first concert will be held on Friday, June 16. One more time, we'll perform beginning at 5 p.m. And Z-Bop, for those of you that know Z-Bop, will be performing at 6 p.m. So please come out to that event. It's free to the public. And just a side note, as the Vice Mayor mentioned, the new business, I went there the following day that she mentioned them. I said, great, I'm always looking for a new hamburger place. I got there and they said because of all the word that had gotten out into the community, they had no more food left. So word of mouth, amongst our community about these fine business establishments we have in our own city will help these businesses not only survive, but flourish. And that's what we want in our community. The more money they make, the more money we make. And so we're appreciative of that. That's it for me. This council meeting is adjourned.